So I just received this question from a guy called Info Junkie on YouTube, and it was in a reply to a previous video that I did, which was called "Can you recommend a mastering chain for under £10,000?" And he said maybe a better question is, what is a 10k mastering chain meant to achieve? Will someone be able to professionally master on it and get a good income from a 10k chain? And I like these sorts of questions. Where's the off button? There. I like these questions, and it got me thinking. And the answer to that is yes, you could achieve a good sound on a 10k chain. Let's say, for argument's sake, a 10k chain would consist of an EQ, a compressor. We'll do the limiting back in the box, and maybe let's say we'll add a little bit of saturation. Now, you could set up like a better maker chain, which for 10k you probably got about 4 units you'll get in there: EQ compressor, limiter, and let's say the bus comp, or the another EQ, the passive EQ, for instance. So if we put those 4 units in, would we be able to achieve a master, a master that rivals something that's running through what is 75, 80k mastering chain? And the answer is, I mean, you wouldn't get as good a sound. It just kind of makes sense, but you will still get what is a master. It will sound like an analog master. What you won't have from a business perspective is that attractive mastering chain. Now, this mastering chain, when you look for all the equipment, the mastering chain that we got in Studio A with an Alpha, an Unfairchild, all the pieces of equipment that are very lusted after, it's very easy to sell a service when you have this to look at. And all this equipment attracts. Now, let's say, for argument's sake, you've got a 10 grand mastering chain and a 150 grand mastering chain, like what we've got in Studio A, or even just this mastering chain. Let's say you compare the two. Now, let's say both can achieve the exact same sound. You can achieve an exceptional master on both chains. So there's no difference in sound. But I can guarantee you now, this mastering chain, or the mastering chain that we got in Studio A, will attract more clients if they were to look at that 10 grand mastering chain, then they would look at 150 grand mastering chain, they'll go, I'm going with that. And regardless of what the sound is like, from a business perspective, that's what's going to happen. And that is very, very much natural. If you've got a 10 grand chain, yes, you can 100% use that for a mastering service. I know lots of mastering engineers who have got 10 grand chains, 20 grand chains, and they achieve a great sound. They're not as busy as someone with a 150 grand mastering chain, because it does attract all these things. They massively attract people to the service. And that's the only thing that I'd really, really say when you answer the question about can it be used for a mastering service. Yes, it can. 100% can be used, and you'll achieve a great sound on it. But it's going to be a lot harder to sell that studio, that mastering chain, with a small mastering chain, with not such lusted after equipment. Now, I know myself that people come to us and they go, right, I want my song run through the Unfairchild. I want my song run through the Shadow Hills. I want it put through that. These sorts of pieces of equipment, like the Unfairchild, let's say it's 14 grand for this compressor, and it's incredible, and it is an incredible compressor. That is why people come to us a lot of the time to have audio run through that piece of equipment, because they know of its heritage. They know how good a Fairchild sounds. They want it to be run through this. These are big investments to bring in clients.